We have our speaker in the house. Coach Bossa is in the house. Welcome.
Thank you.
Good morning, Coach Bossa. Good morning. Thank you for honoring this invitation.
You're welcome.
Thank you, everyone. While we wait for Dr. Abimbola and Sheun Ladokun, I want to welcome everyone, and I want to welcome my director. I think I saw him. Praise for well. Good morning, PF.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning.
Thank you for joining us, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, so welcome to Family Meeting, the February edition. And I said last month, Family Meeting is a place of salient issues that ordinarily we don't talk about. And last month we talked about setting the family goals. This morning we are going to be talking about married but single. Married but single, how to overcome the singleness. Because when you hear marriage, you expect that the two of you are together. So where is the singleness coming from? So this morning I have in the house Coach Bosse and Sheun Ladokun to do justice to that topic, while we also have much about as a side attraction. If you remember last month, our side attraction was on etiquette, and Norma was around to tell us the things. In fact, while we were expecting that she's going to talk about rules and regulations, she just told us that no, etiquette is about what inside you, and because it's what inside you I bring out. So this morning our action is we are looking at our health, and talking about our health, we're going to be treating the aspects of COVID-19. That is the much ado about COVID-19. That's what we're going to be talking about. So, I don't know if Sheun Ladokun is in the house already. Okay, Sheun Ladokun is in the house. Good morning. Sheun Ladokun, welcome.
Thank you, Ebun. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Ebun Lama, sorry. Good morning, everyone. Nice to be here.
Thank you. Thank you for accepting our invitation. So I'll go straight to reading the profile while we start immediately, because I know Saturday is a very busy one for everybody who wants to go to the market, cleaning and all. So I introduce our speakers. That's the first session. For the first session, we have the two of them talk to us. Ladokun will explain to us what it means to be single, to be married and still be single. What's happening? Why do we experience singleness in marriage? While Bosse will also talk a little about that, then she will explain the three levels of singleness in marriage that we have. So I start with Sheun Ladokun. Sheun Ladokun is a pastor, a professional counselor, and a family system engineering professional, resolution expert, and skilled in mediation and negotiation. He has interest in football. He enjoys playing soccer on PS4, supports Manchester United and Real Madrid. Sheun is happily married to Ibitayo, and they both support couples to build effective and efficient homes worthy of emulation. Please, everybody, can you please welcome Sheun Ladokun? Just say hello in the chat room to say welcome to Sheun Ladokun. Thank you for joining us. And we have Bosse Fawaimi, a trained life coach, a marriage coach who is into infidelity recovery coaching and certified Christian counseling. Her mission is to partner with individuals who desire to improve their relationships and move it from hurting to thriving. She runs and oversees a marriage counseling outfit called Marriage Matters in Nigeria and Thrive Relationship Coaching in Canada. Outside our passion for coaching and supporting singles and married, She is a personal growth enthusiast, an avid learner and teacher. She loves helping people find purpose and to maximize their potential. Bose Fawa is happily married for over 20 years. Welcome, ma'am. Thank you for coming on, and thank you for accepting our invitation.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, so we move on to the first session here. And I want to ask Coach Bose Fawa, what does a sentence mean, married but single? Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. So when you say somebody is married but single, that means that the person is not in the singles market. So the person is ideally not single. This person is not available to be married to somebody else. The person is supposedly in a married relationship, but the person is not enjoying the perks that goes with being married. So let's say your purpose for getting married, one of them is for companionship, that you don't want to do life alone. You have decided that I'm going to have someone to do life with. And you went into that marriage with that mindset. But alas, you are still not enjoying that benefit of having a companion because probably the person is absent. So you can be described as you are married but single. It's also possible that you are both even living together, because you can be married and still be experiencing living like you're single if both of you are just cohabiting. We have lots of relationships like that today where they still appeared married, but they are living parallel lives. They are living just like 10 neighbors, or they are just cohabiting, still sharing the same apartment, but really they are single. I know it's also possible that you experience such if currently you are married but separated, and you don't even know how this thing will end up with. So somebody cannot technically describe you as being married, but neither can we say you are single because you are not divorced. So both of you have lived apart maybe 1 year, 2 years, and there is that level of uncertainty there that, are we still coming together, or is this the end? So some people are in that phase where they are just not sure where they belong, whether they are still together or not. So yeah, there are loads of people in that category, and that's why it's important to talk about it. That, are you married and experiencing singleness because your spouse is not available? Your spouse has gone to live in another country or another city because of greener pasture or whatever. So that's it.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. I love the perspective through which you came in from, saying that being single in marriage is because people feel that by the time they get into marriage, they don't want to. The reason why what took them into marriage is because they don't want to be alone. And by the time they get married, they discover that it is that loneliness they are running away from that they have found themselves in. So thank you very much, Coach Bose. I'm going to call on Sheola Dokun to also shed light on that. And I want you to come from the angle of a man now, as the husband. What does it mean to a man to be married and single? Thank you, Sheola Dokun.
Thank you, Ebun Lomo. Thank you, Coach Bose, for that wonderful foundation and for starting us up in this conversation. And thanks to everyone for showing up at the family meeting today. I believe it's a blessed and a beautiful day already. And I'm sure we'll all get better. We'll learn new things today. Okay, just to add a little bit to what Coach B has said, there are different sides to being married and still living single. Some are not totally bad, like in the case of people that in search of greener pasture, they are just in the phase of their lives that after a while, they will be together again and probably more comfortable and all. And then there are these sets of people that, though they are married, okay, they are married, they are supposed to have a healthy marriage. They are living as single, despite being under the same roof and not far apart, but they are living as single. For example, a spouse or partner that is very busy with some other things like work, community, extended family, and all that. The other spouse is feeling lonely and left out, but he or she just feels, I provide everything. Okay, saying coming from the aspect of a man, for example, and the man may just feel at least I provide everything. I pay school fees, I pay house rent, I ensure there is food, and then I'm assuming I'm playing my part, and she should know that I'm very busy and she should understand. Whereas the spouse is already disconnected emotionally, she's disconnected psychologically, she doesn't have a friend. They seem to have a healthy marriage, they are under the same roof, they are not fighting as it were, but they are not connecting. So at that point, the other spouse may begin to have some other people or some other things speaking to him or her because the spouse is not there as a spouse, even though the spouse may be doing every other thing. And it can be the case of the woman as well. I'm playing my role as your wife. I'm doing this. I'm taking care of the children. I support you. We support one another. But then the connection is not there because so many other things are distracting them. It could be work. It could be commitment to the society. It could be anything. It could be extended family. So that happens a lot as well. They are not in an unhealthy marriage, so to speak. Their marriage seems healthy. Everybody sees them. They are living together, but they are growing far apart because there are many distractions there and there. And there are some people that have an unhealthy marriage already. They're in in some cases, an abusive marriage. They're under the same roof. Everybody is practically living on the edge because any little thing can create a spark and snowball into a major issue. So we have those set of people as well. So there are so many angles we can come in from for people that are married and they are living single. Even though on the outside or to people around, they are married, they're together, but there are so many things that goes on within that even the spouses may not know that they are growing wide apart until there is a trigger and everything snowballs into so many that you are wondering, what have I said? What have I done? Why is all of this happened? It's not something that happened overnight. It's something that has been in the process, but no one is paying attention to it. So that's another side to being married or still living as single.
Ebon, you are muted.
Sorry about that. So I was saying that thank you, Sheon, for the perspective you came in from, helping us to understand that from the men's perspective, they want to go out and work in search for greener pasture, which is also very important in marriage, right? But the other partner is going through some things inside. She wants the attention, she wants the presence of the man in the house. And those things cause rift, brings conflict and all. So I want us to go into the next part of this. How do we handle this? What do we do? What can we do to solve these problems? How do we handle it? What are the things the both parties need to put in place? For example, the one that is going through, the other one, of course, his reason is genuine. He wants to go and see greener pastures, he wants to bring money and all, but the woman needs attention. So in this kind of situation, how do you think we can handle it, Coach Bosse?
Okay, so if we look at the couple that are separate, that are not living together because of job or because somebody is living in another city or in another country, I want to believe that both of them made that decision together. So it wasn't just a situation where one person just decided to say, whoa, I need to go and pick this job, and that's it. So where it starts from is that the couple must be in agreement. And then before they jump into that decision, they need to have a plan in place. Because if you don't plan how you are going to sustain the marriage while that separation lingers, then you are going to run into lots of problems. So they need to plan. And what are they supposed to plan about? They need to plan how they would be communicating, or how they would make sure that they are not away for too long a period of time. So my advice usually is that if someone needs to say, go to another country, you want to make sure that your spouse can also enter that same country. So you don't want a situation where you would say, I'm going to the US, and then we will just believe God for how you will come in. I mean, yeah, it's good to believe God, but that is entirely off your hand. So you don't want a situation like that. You want to go to a country where at least there is a plan. Oh, I will visit every 3 months, I will visit every 6 months, I will visit, or you will visit, so there is a plan in place. However, we know that you can make plans, and something can happen. It may not come to pass. Same, there is COVID situation where travels are forbidden in some places, but it's okay. That is, at least you made your own plans. So have your plans in place, then have plans on how we will communicate. Are we ensuring that we are speaking every day? Because if you don't talk for long periods of time, then you are already creating avenues for problems. There can be a lot of assumptions happening. So why is he not calling me? Why is she not picking my calls? What is she doing? So communication is essential. Also, when there are disagreements, how do you handle it? If you are the type that never used to be able to resolve your issues, even when you are together, so both of you are living in this house, everything is fine, but when there is a disagreement, all hell is let loose. You can't walk through your conflict easily. Then when you are apart, it even makes it worse. Because so if you send text messages, it can be misunderstood, So I tell couples that avoid a type of communication that is subject to interpretation, which is beyond what you are saying. So you are using video calls, you are using audio calls rather than just texting when there are issues to trash. However, using WhatsApp messages, texting help you to keep communication flowing easily, faster. Oh, I'm going out now. The kids are back from school. Or, you are communicating. But when there are issues, you want to make sure that you are employing technology so that you guys can see each other. So pay attention to those things. How are you guys making decisions? That is one area where couples who don't live together, where they can have serious issues. You want to ensure that you are carrying each other along. You are not just starting to build your life around the fact that I'm now independent. Oh, my partner is no more here. So this is a very delicate balance. Your spouse is not here. You are here, so you can make decisions. But make sure you are carrying this partner along so that you guys don't start to grow apart. Are you with me? So sitting down together to plan this our in short period of separation, how are we going to keep marriage going? How are we? Because you don't want to just become independent and you say, you live your life, me, I live my life. Once you do that, you are going to create loads of problems for that relationship.
Thank you so much. You have answered that question in the perspective of those that are not together, maybe distance barrier. Okay, so
Yes.
Sheon Ladoko, I want you to come in from the aspect of those that are under the same roof and they are still living. How do you think they can handle it? Do you think there has been a fundamental problem?
All right, thank you, Ebun. Well, in some cases, there would have been some fundamental problem. For example, so for some singles or yet to be married people, for some people before they got married, all they know, all of they have heard about marriages are very negative. So they come into marriage with an exit plan already, not even knowing, because it is most times an unconscious thing that they may not be aware of, but it's there and active and ready to kick at any slight activation. So that's why it's also important that we showcase and talk about more marriages that are blissful and working and what is making it work. Because they come into marriage with a mindset that is already limiting. For example, come in and say, I don't believe in joint account. Don't let your spouse know what you heard. You don't declare everything to your partner. Your partner should not know you have access to some privileges and so on. So when one party is already acting alone, unconsciously, not being very open to the other party, along the line, it will definitely affect the other spouse as well. So how do we handle such? First and foremost, go back to your why. Why did you get married? What does marriage mean to you? So you have to take out time to detox and forget about everything you think you know about marriage and ask what really marriage means to you. How do you intend to enjoy and maximize your marriage? You look out for role models married around you that you can pattern yours after. And in so doing, you have to kill the mindset that says, a lot of people are pretending. There are no good marriages out there. Those thoughts are limiting already, because there are millions and several millions of marriages that are working and that they are blissful and they are doing well, doing marriage to the fullest. So we have to be deliberate about conversations and communications with your spouse. You have to consciously commit to love your spouse. So in answering that again, you have to see your marriage as building a team. You are not just in it alone. You are building a team, you are building a tribe, you are building a nation. Understand that you and your spouse, you are in it together. So even if you have various mindsets, you have to come to the understanding that, okay, these things will not work the way we are going. Let's press the reset button and start all over again. There's a saying that together, everyone achieve more in building a team, or together, everyone achieve miracles. So you know that we are better together than being apart. However, there should be respect and dignity that will keep you both together. So, because in marriages, just like every other thing, star players don't win or lose matches. It is teams that do. So it's not a one-sided thing. You have to be in it together and work together as a team. So the other part is effective communication, even for those that are living under the same roof. People grow apart because there is no communication. Communication is beyond good morning, hello. There have to be conversations. So effective and efficient communication is very key and important, because at times when one part is already going alone, you begin to see some signs of resistance. So you have to find a way to build sufficient rapport and bypass that conscious resistance that is on the forefront, because you are going to frustrate yourself or even damage your spouse if you don't understand your spouse user's manual. By that I mean how your spouse wants to experience love, how she wants to be given love, how he or she wants to be communicated to. So you have to understand that communication is very, very key. And still talking about communication, two people are coming together to start a new nation in form of marriage. They are a product of two different nations. The nation could be third world, could be second world, could be first world. So all those fundamental details have to be dealt with and addressed. You can't come in with a mindset of a third world country to want to build a first world country. Along the line, you frustrate one another. So because the nation where a spouse emerges from, to a large extent, it positively or negatively affects the new nation that they want to build or form together. Another thing I think, well, aside communication, is having a vision for your family. There has to be a family vision. Who is your family? Are you a team? Are you a nation? Are you a tribe? What will your family be known for? And in doing that, you set clear goals as regards your marriage. All of these things will foster communication, and you have a common goal you are working towards. So even if one wants to drift apart, there is a common goal that will guide the two of you. So you set clear goals as regards finances, as regards fun, which is very important, as regards your career, so that you know the kind of job to take or not to take. So that, for example, if you are taking a job that will not make you go to Botswana or Afghanistan, you'll realize that it's part of the vision, it's part of it, it's in the plan. So it will help you even when you are no longer living together for a while, because it's in the plan and you have an end goal already. It will limit your issues in that line. You set ritual goals, and everybody has to commit to the goals to ensure that they work. Because as important as it is to achieve your goals, but beyond achieving your goals, it is more important who you become in the process of achieving your goals. It's more important. So last, I want to quickly talk about loving your spouse as well.
Mhm.
If you have decided to get married, then you have to decide to love one another sacrificially. Love is patient with one another, love is kind, but love is sacrificial. Love means making out time, because you create time for what you value or for who you value. You can't say you love me and you cannot create time for me, no matter how busy you are. You have to be able to make that sacrifice. God, love already is sacrifice. Love also means time, spending quality time with one another. It might not be physical at times for those that are not be living in the same country, but for those that are even living together, love means making out time for one another, not pressing phone at the slightest opportunity. Because this has to be something we have to be very conscious and deliberate about. We have to be present. Sometimes we are present, but we are not present. So we have to be present and fully present, spirit, soul, and body, because a lot of spouses are unconsciously drifting away because of little or no time that they have to spend one another. They don't maximize the little time they have for one another due to distractions from gadgets, telephones, TV, and everything. So when you say you love your spouse, you have to be able to make that sacrifice and love that person genuinely. And the truth again is, some people don't have capacity or the ability to love or receive love based on where they're coming from, based on what they have experienced in life. So it's not
Mhm.
entirely their fault. They have to also take responsibility and get help where it's required. Yes, you have been through some stuff, and then love means red light to you. It's okay, but it will no longer be okay when you are aware of that, because you have to take responsibility to address it once and for all. So if you are such a person, for example, you have to just forgive yourself. It's not entirely your fault. Forgive your spouse. It's not his or her fault. It's just unfortunate that you both found yourself in it. So forgive your spouse where necessary. Make peace with the process, and do not approach things from the place of bitterness or from the place of hurt or loneliness. Things have happened. Understand the fact that people do things based on what they know per time, based on their map of the world. So if people knew better, they probably act better. They act based on what they've exposed to. That's what formed them. So you have been to expose yourself to new knowledge, encourage your spouse, expose your spouse to new knowledge, because by the time you begin to see new things, you're exposed to new knowledge, begin to understand and begin to act better. Because everybody has to be whole in a marriage. Our joy or our wholeness or our sufficiency should not totally depend on our spouses alone. We have to find ourselves and be ourselves or who we are. When we are whole, we're able to be whole in all wholeness. So we're able to address the loneliness that we may expect. Because you are whole already, you can love wholly and you can receive love wholly as well. Let me pause on that for now so that I don't take our time in that. So that'll be all for now, Heaven. Thanks.
All right. So I'm still coming back to you because of that part of love that you raised. So I'm going to talk. I'm going to say this based on my own experience. By the time I got married, the way love was interpreted to us, the way love was defined to us, especially when you read Mills and Bones and all those. And by the time you got married, the reality dawned on you. The person is not ready to play love the way you have it in your head. And it does not mean the person does not love you. How will you help that kind of a partner? Sure.
Okay. Okay. You said, how do you manage a partner that is unwilling to love you?
It's not that he's unwilling to. It's not that he's unwilling to, but he's not seeing it the way you are seeing it. You have been wrongly patterned.
Okay.
You believe love should be doing.
Yeah.
And when you were talking, you mentioned that we should when you love yourself, you won't expect too much because you're already sufficient with the love. So how do you help somebody like that who does not really understand what love is and expect that love is somebody completing me? Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. You'll be able to help such a person only if the person understands there is a problem and he or she is willing to learn. If I don't see a problem in anything, I'll be not likely be open to learning. So trying to help such a person will be like pouring water on stone. You just keep pouring and it dries up, nothing will change eventually. But if such a person sees that, okay, even if he doesn't see a problem, because the person sees that I can be better or this thing can be better, it's a good way to start because that person is open to new knowledge, is open to new learning. And so such person has to be exposed to helping such person to discover himself or herself by discovering their usual manual first and foremost. When I say a user's manual, for example, we all buy gadgets and all. Some of the gadgets we buy, we don't know how to operate them effectively. That's why there's a manual. So when you go to the manual, you realize, okay, beyond just watching soccer on this TV, I can browse the internet, I can do my office work on it. So it's not just a TV box to watch soccer alone. In reading the manual, you discover so many other things. So such a person could be taking through a process of finding themselves. What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? What are their fears? What are their challenges? What will pose a red flag to them? How do they want to love? How do they experience love the most? There are different love languages out there. So for example, now, if we are communicating in English language, for instance, you understand French and I don't, and you speak French to me, I might just be smiling and be nodding my head. I don't understand what you're saying, even though you're telling me, oh, Sheo, I love you, you're doing well, you're fantastic, you're complimenting me. And I'm just wondering, is she abusing me? Is she making jest of me? Have I said something wrong? So that's how it is in marriages at times. The husband is showing, I'll give an example. There are these two guys I used to know, they were roommates in the school. So down the line, one of them took ill, and the other guy was trying to take care of his friend. So the guy that fell ill, when they are ill when they are sick in their home, what they do is you don't do anything. They boil water for you. They bring food to you on your bed. They don't allow friends to come. They just watch over you, do nothing. You are just in bed all day. They nurture you so you are better. That's how they take care of people in their house. But the friend that was taking care of the person in his own, and when you are healed, you are encouraged that why not just try to get up and move your body a bit. There's water in the kitchen. You can't get the hot water yourself. You can make the tea. You'll be fine. They call his friends, come and see. I look to your friends, not feeling fine. So this guy was taking care of his friend like that. He will boil water in the kitchen. Why not go and get the water yourself? I'll call so and so person come and check on you so that you can be fine. And do all those sorts of things. So there was trouble. There was a problem because this guy felt I'm doing my all to take care of my friend. He doesn't appreciate it at all. And this other guy is saying I'm sick and my friend doesn't even care. He cannot take care of me because communication is wrong already. The person is not receiving care the way he's used to getting care. And that's how it is for us too in marriages. A spouse is not getting love the way he or she is used to getting love. So we have to be very open and patient enough to understand our spouse and love them the way they want to be loved so that we can maximize it. So such a person must be willing to go through the process of learning. It's not something to be able to say, cast in stone, where this Zoom call, for example, because you have to know the person and help the person pattern his life and help the person find how do I love genuinely, how can I receive love genuinely. In the process of discovering your user manual, you will find that and then you can be effective at it.
Thank you very much. Okay, so family, you can hear that Sheola Doko has mentioned user's manual severally in his statement, and is an instrument that we have in the Institute of Family Life Engineering. If you are interested in doing that, and I also saw a question where somebody said, how do I make my partner understand my love language? We also have an We also have an instrument that can help you to do that. We administer the instrument to the two of you, and you both see you both understand and see the languages differently. So if you're interested, you can, we'll give you the numbers you can call to do this, to reach out to us so that we can help you to achieve this, helping your spouse understand your love language, and we help you to create your user's manual. This instrument can help you have a happy home, and this instrument can help you to deal even when you're feeling lonely. Thank you, Shemlado. Coach Bosse, do you have anything to say about what he has, do you have anything to add to what he has said about handling and helping people to understand that love is not drama? You know, women, you know, we can be so dramatic and we want this person to be all around us, and this person does not understand that. What do you think we can do as women? Thank you.
Okay, so I want to encourage or suggest to couples who are living together, married but single, that it is very okay for them to reach out for help. And you should not wait until the situation really gets bad. Once you discover that both of you are growing apart, once you can feel it, you are sensing it that something is wrong here, we are losing connection, that is exactly the time you need to reach out for help, because your marriage is only as strong as the weakest link there. So if your husband feels that, oh, our marriage is great, in fact, we are doing fantastic, and the woman, you are assessing the relationship and you are saying that, no, we are at a 40. Meanwhile, your husband is rating the relationship as a 90. Then that means that your relationship is actually at a 40, because that is the strength. The weakest, the weakest person or the weakest assessment there depicts the clear picture of the relationship. So reach out for help. And how do you reach out for help? I know that number one, you would probably have asked your partner, talk to your partner that something is wrong. I think we are losing connection. And what you guys will generally do is try to talk things over. So if you have talked things over and you are not getting results, that means that that strategy, that method is not working. So you need to go to the next level. If you are having a headache, the first thing you probably will do is go to your medicine cabinet and bring out an analgesic, paracetamol, and use. If you use it and it doesn't work, what's your next line of action? You probably will pick your phone and call a friend that is a medical person and say, something is wrong. Oh. Okay, maybe those ones, if it's in Nigeria, they can say, go and use this. But the real thing is that until you carry yourself to the hospital where they can actually run tests on you, before you can actually know what is wrong with you. And that is what we should do with our relationships. Once you are losing connection, once you know that, I mean, the way I'm feeling about my husband or about my wife, the way we used to, feel each other, we are not feeling it anymore. Then stop your self-medication. You have used it enough. Carry yourself and reach out for help and say, this is what is happening to us. There are so many wonderful counselors out there and coaches that can sit with you and help you identify what exactly is wrong with your union, where things need to be fixed, and give you the support you need to actually fix it. So that is one, reach out for help. The next thing is that, when Sheryl said, people may not understand, your spouse may not understand how to love you effectively, and then talking about love language generally, I have this advice for women especially. It's okay to have your head in the cloud and want to be loved in a certain way. I'm not going to say that, something is wrong with you for wanting to be loved in a particular way. It is okay. If that is how you were shown love from your family of origin, you will definitely believe that that is how love should be shown. And sometimes, if you miss a particular type of love from your family of origin, you may want it in your marriage. So, a guy I'm working with now, after some sessions, realized that he really wants to have a woman that is a home manager. He desires that the woman should have the capacity to run a home. Apparently, the kind of ladies he's been dating are those people who are very career focused, and they are not really giving so much to all this domestic life. This guy doesn't live in Nigeria, but it's affecting him because every time he falls in love with this person, he's now wanting what his mom wasn't to him. His mom was not really domesticated. So he was yearning for that in a woman. So it's okay. So when you know that this is what I want, now, after you have known what you want, it's also good for you to appreciate and understand how your spouse show love. I think that is where a lot of women miss it, because you can't go into the marriage and say it's either my way or the highway. If I want flowers and chocolates, if you will not give me flower and chocolates, there will be no peace in this house. Meanwhile, the guy is mopping the floor, scrubbing the toilet, helping you to carry your leg. Everything you want is doing it. Okay, it's good. Want your flowers and chocolate. Please be considerate enough to
They should just bring the car back.
what that language that your spouse is saying. And I can categorically tell you that this has worked for me.
Don't put these books inside
My
the
own
bag.
love language, I want words of
Let's go.
affirmation.
Hey,
I
the
want
laundry guy that
physical
came to my
touch.
own now. How am I
My
going
husband is not so given to those things. This year we are 22 years
They're already
married,
working on them.
and we have I can tell you I enjoy my
No,
marriage.
like bring that
Every
up in
time my head is going to spark that, oh my God, this guy did not even tell me how good looking I am today. Then I just remember all these other things that he does for me, that I know that this one is act of love. So I balance it out instead of complaining every day that because he's not saying you look good, you look nice, you make myself miserable. So you don't have to do that. Love language in every one of us, we should be bilingual. Hello, let us be bilingual. So don't say it's only French you understand. If your husband or your spouse is speaking German, your proof of love is that you are able also to learn German. Is that not how it goes? If you have gone to marry an Igbo man and Yoruba, will you not learn that language? Will you insist on your own that you have to speak my language? You have to speak my language. So love language, be bilingual. Let your spouse know the language you naturally understand, and you too be kind enough to understand your spouse's language.
Stick to that first tip, but you're right.
Thank you very much. Please, if your mic is unmuted, please mute yourself so that you will not interfere in the discussion. Thank you. At this point, I don't think
You can actually mute him, admin. You can mute the person who is talking. We do not hear anything that his boss has said at all. We were distracted.
Everybody is muted.
Nathaniel Luz. Nathaniel, please mute yourself. Nathaniel, if you can hear me, please mute yourself.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so I was saying that at this point, I don't think I can resist myself. I want to bring in Prince Forward to say something. So Sean was talking about, Sean mentioned something about our mindsets before we got married, saying that the mindset we brought into marriage. So talking about mindset too, I also understand that during our training, we used to talk about the universe, how you were formed, the things that formed you. And that was why I was really laying emphasis on we seeing love as drama. And those things had gone a long way to affect. PF, please, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, so I want you to talk about singleness. When we don't decify singleness, when you don't understand it, you take aloneness for loneliness. How do we separate it? I think people need to understand that. That's the basis of all the things we're talking about. And I want you to talk about this now. Thank you.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I didn't plan to say anything. I also came to learn. So please, next time, don't call me. I love to learn. Thank you very much, Coach Bosse. Thank you for Sheon Ladokun for amazing. And thank you for everyone who is there. I mean, I feel very excited to be a participant and an attendee. But just to respond to your question, on Thursday, precisely, I was sharing exactly this, that there are about 4 stages that people need to understand. The first stage of our life is observation. And the second stage of our life is knowledge gathering. The third stage is revelation. And the fourth stage is invasion. Let me quickly break this down. Most of what we learned, especially how we love, how we see things, was based, first of all, on observation. You learned love by observing your parents. Like me, it was tough for me to even be romantic because my father never hugged me and I never saw my father hug my mom. Hugging always happened once a year, every time we cross over from 31st of December to 1st of January. And it's usually a 10 seconds transaction. The next time you will see that will be next year, right? And so I saw that consistently for about 19 years of my life, right? So, but also in observation, I don't know how this manages to happen. There's always one brother and one auntie somewhere in the neighborhood where everybody grew up who are always having sex with themselves, and you have a way to peep to observe them. So from those brothers and aunties, we began to understand that, okay, maybe affection is sex. Now, if you grew up with that mentality, right, you would realize that your perspective about love would have been damaged, right? Because life did not even give you a chance to discover yourself. In parenting, we say that ages 0 to 3 basically is for parents to observe, right? You observe your child. Your job is a scout to observe the signal your child is sending. But our parents didn't do that. From ages 4 to 6, your job is to model. You model the competence, the life, the excellence you want. Our parents didn't do that. They modeled the wrong things for many of us. From ages 7 to 8 to 10, your job is an instructor. You aggressively pour into your child's brain every information that he will need for the rest of his, for the teenage years. We don't do that. Then from ages 11 to 13 thereabout, your job is a friend. And that's when we want to flex muscle to say you cannot be your child's friend. Then from ages 14 to 18, your job is a coach, right? Where you balance perspective, you no longer impose your will on your child. They did not do any of these things for many of us. Now, so it means that the way we learned by observation was faulty. So no, we didn't have models of love in front of us and models who understood what it means to master your singleness, because singleness actually means freedom from duplicity. Singleness is wholeness, is a state of focus where you understand who you are comfortable in your skin, and that's why when people say that 1 + 1 in marriage must be equal to 1, they are assuming that the two people getting married are 1, right? Because in many cases, 1 is getting married to half, or quarter is getting married to quarter. And when quarter married a quarter, there is no way, 1 + 1 can be equal to 1 because they are not at par. And the other thing, is the fact that people are not marrying their kind. People are marrying opposites, which is one fundamental error that has been taught over time. So you marry the opposite. Quiet marries a talker. The talker wants to talk. Quiet wants to be quiet. Then talker finds someone who is talking to him outside. Quiet finds someone who is also quiet, and crisis begins to happen. Level 2 is knowledge. Now, how do we gather knowledge when knowledge is also subjective? So for many of us in my generation, there was a guy that taught us knowledge about romance, about relationship, and it's the guy called Dowda the Sexy Guy, or Naxin, or magazine called Lolly, Bembella and Lulu. So if the way we learned about romance is also faulty. Now, so take a guy who learned from the wrong observation, took in a lot of wrong knowledge from M&B to Sidney Sheldon, to Mexican soaps now, Diego Paloma, Second Chance, and what have you, Catanila and Sebastina or something like that. Now, your expectation is going to be faulty, that the way it has been introduced to you is totally, an utopian kind of thing that doesn't really exist in reality. Now, but marriage shows reality. When people now get in marriage, you now realize that it's not totally correct, because when singleness has become intact before marriage, then loneliness cannot happen. People say, the Bible says it's not good for man to be lonely. No, it says it's not good for man to be alone. The word man there is humanity. Alone means all one. It has nothing to do with loneliness. So the things about loneliness, we have to have dealt with it before even stepping into marriage, which will include the discovery of yourself, which is stage 3. Stage 3 is revelation, which comes by meditation, where you now find yourself to realize that your spouse cannot really give you happiness. You need to learn to be happy in yourself, that most of the things you need is inside you. And when you have become whole, fortified, you are happy with yourself, then you can send the energy of happiness to the other person. And if that person is also old, there can be an exchange. But where one person is old, the other person is not old, that other person will begin to feast on the other person as the source of his happiness. And when the person is busy, maybe doing what he loves to do, his passion, the other person feels bad. You are not giving me time. You are not. Of course, we know that there are people who don't give time, but we all need to learn to attain that state of singleness. And that's why, for what we should have discovered in their formative years, we are just discovering it around through revelation to now say, who am I? What makes me thick? And that's why we recommend the user's manual. What do I love? How do I get angry? Or what upsets me? How do I recover from anger? Your spouse needs to know all those things so that in case there's a meltdown, is able to get you out of that situation. And like Coach Bosse said, it is okay to seek help, please. And seek help from a professional, right? It is okay. Don't wait till there is cancer in your relationship before you seek help. Ideally, everybody should go for marital checkup, right? If your spouse is the type who doesn't like to go, there's a way to walk behind the scene to make them do it without them even knowing that they're already seeing a therapist, right? So, and level 4 is basically invasion. At the level of invasion, we call them highly evolved personality. You are operating at the highest level where you are living your life, your spouse is living their lives, and you are connecting and bringing the results into the family. Because people always think that one person's life needs to stop because they married someone else. No, in marriage, you can eat your cake and have it if you apply wisdom and if you build a system-based marriage. So what has happened over time is there are so many people listening to me today who are very, very upset that some of them are depressed. The only reason they are depressed is they married someone who does not respect their individuality, does not respect who they are. So people marry someone else, then they try to fit that person into an image they have in their mind, which is disrespectful to the person. You have a woman who is a high flyer, you now say, sit at home. There is no way she can be happy because she's not living her life. So I always say to people, if you can't accept people on their current reality, at the level of singleness before you ever get married, don't even get into that transaction because they're going to mess you up. So you need to ask the basic question that we need to ask. So all of us need to understand that, the ultimate stage in life is actually singleness. You were born single, you're going to die single, and that's why, yes, we'll get into marriage, which is a role, but we always have to understand that singleness is the foundation on which every other thing is built. If you have not found yourself, you are not happy with yourself, marriage is just going to escalate the problem. And now you will now begin to blame someone else, for not meeting a need that only you could have met. I hope that has helped. And Ebon, please, let us focus on our coaches. Don't call me again. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And that really helped. Coach Bossa, there's a question in the chat. And before I would allow you to answer that question, that's a question that says, what if you're happy in yourself and the other person is bringing on happiness? I mean, what if you find you are always happy when the other person is away? That means when the other person is not around, you are happy. But when the person is around, the atmosphere changes. So PF said we should not wait for somebody else to complete us. You should be comfortable in your own skin. That's what PF said. So Coach Bosse, I want you to answer that question. Since PF said I should not call him, I don't want to call him again to answer any question.
Yeah. If you discover that you feel better, you are good, you are okay when your spouse is not around, then that marriage is very sick. It is very, very sick, because one of the reasons why you get married, we assume you got married to that person because you could not imagine doing life without that person. So you were like, yeah, I need to spend the rest of my life with you. That means you enjoyed the person's company and you really wanted to be with that person. Now the person is now a pain to you or a cause of distress. Then that means your relationship is sick and you need to seek help. So I cannot tell you now that you should enjoy it. That you should manage it, because you can't manage it. You are not happy. We are pro-marriage. We want you to stay in your marriage, but not at the expense of your sanity, not at the expense of your health, not stay in the marriage and lose who you really are. So if you are not able to thrive and flourish and really be a happy person in that marriage, then you yourself, please seek help. And please don't insist that your spouse must come for counseling with you. I think that's where the error starts from, because they've taught us it takes two to tango. It takes two to tango, and you are there waiting for your partner to come on board to get the help. So if your partner is not on board, your partner has not even realized that you guys have a problem, or the person is not even feeling it. You that you are feeling it, please go and see a doctor. Come out for help, because you see, your wholeness as a person is very important. You are more important. I want to say this carefully. You are more important than that union. And I want that to sink, that your wholeness, your wellness, your well-being is far more important than that your union. So if the union is sick, and it is already causing you sickness, it's already making you sick, then you alone carry yourself, get treatment. And when you are a better person, you can now help the marriage. So stop waiting and say, my husband is not coming for counseling. You call, you alone, we can work with you, and things will improve in that relationship. So what do you do when your spouse is causing you pain? Reach out and let's talk.
Thank you very much. So the crisis in marriage is as a result of the death of singleness. And so we need to get our singleness back, get your wholeness back. And in the chat box, I dropped numbers that you can reach out to via WhatsApp, and the website link. You can always, PF said it, Coach Bosse said it, Sheon Ladoku said it, that if you know and you discover that something, you're becoming sick, please seek help. And it was also mentioned that seek professional help. We have discovered that even the counselors in our churches need help. So professional counseling is the best one for you. Thank you very much, Coach Bosse. Thank you, Sheun Ladokun. There's a question in the, thank you, PF. There's a question in the chat session that I want Sheun Ladokun to respond to. Can one's love language change over time? Because sometimes my language evolves. Sheun Ladokun, how do we respond to that? Thank you.
Oh, yes, because we are all growing. So it's possible your love language can change, or in some cases, because of knowledge and exposure, you begin to appreciate some things more, and then your attachment to some other things may reduce because you have grown, you are more exposed. So I think it's possible that your love language changes or evolves because you're also growing, you're exposed to new knowledge, you're exposed to new environment, you're exposed to all sorts of things. So you're evolving as well. So as we are growing, our understanding and attachment to things could change as well. So it's very possible that your love language evolves because you're also evolving as well.
Thank you very much. So while we round up this first session, I also want you to answer this question. Please, Sheun. How do you handle disrespect from your spouse? He does not give room for heart-to-heart talk. That's a big one.
Oh, yes, that's a very big one. And then I'm sorry to say, such a person too may not be open to counsel. So in this kind of case, you'll be, just like what B said earlier, you'll be able to seek counsel and get help alone first so that your counselor or your coach can guide you on how to approach him, how to have proper discussion and conversation, and how to communicate effectively. Because in all of these things, communication is key. If there is no effective communication, there will be disrespect, there will be misunderstanding, there will be all sorts of things. So I think you may need to seek help first so that whoever is helping you can understand the state of things, what you mean by disrespect, what respect means to you, what you think respect means to your husband, how he feels respect, how he wants to be respected and all. So your counselor or your coach can now guide you in how to have proper conversation with it, because I'm not sure it's something I can answer offhand here without getting some other details so that we don't put square pegs in round hole. So I encourage that you take the conversation beyond here and get a customized help or guidance in that case. The truth is we have all sorts of cases like that around us. They are very realistic. And however, it's not an impossible task to address. So I encourage that you seek further help. I don't know if Coach B wants to add anything to that.
So if a man, thank you, Sheun, if it's about not respecting, or somebody, your partner does not want to hear you, that you guys have a problem. Is that the question?
The question is that he's not respectful and he's not even ready to have a heart-to-heart discussion.
So we have said it. The guy does not want to have a heart-to-heart conversation with you. He doesn't want to hear what you have to say. When you come to get help, we can coach you on how you can bypass his conscious resistance and you can have those conversations with him. So it's all about the technique. There is no human being that cannot be reached. So let's put it that way. There is no human being that cannot be reached. So if you have been trying to reach him a certain way and it's not working, then we are going to guide you in other ways that are possible that you can still reach him. So don't despair. You just reach out and get the help first for yourself.
Thank you very much. It's been a wonderful time with you guys. And I really appreciate you, Coach Bosse. Thank you, Sheun Ladokun. It's been a wonderful time. Thank you for answering the questions intelligently and professionally. I really appreciate that. Okay, so while people still drop their questions, I want us to move to the next segment of this. I'm sure Dr. Abimbola Ore is still in the house. Dr. Abimbola Ore, are you here?
Yes, I am. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Dr. Abimbola. So we are going into the side attraction, and that is talking about our health. And Dr. Abimbola is going to be speaking to us on much ado about COVID-19. She's going to be doing this for the next 10 minutes. And if you have questions, you can also drop in the chat room, in the chat box. I'm going to read her profile. Abimbola Moturayo Ore is a lover of children and everything kiddish. She's a medical doctor and currently working as a senior registrar in the pediatric department of Lagos State University Teaching Hospital. She's passionate about raising healthy, wholesome kids that will grow to be responsible adults in the future. She's also the team lead of BEAM's Health Train Initiative, a non-profit organization that provides healthcare support to underprivileged children in orphanages, hospitals, and communities. Abimbola is a NLP, that's neuro-linguistic programming practitioner, who has particular interest in empowering children that have survived any form of abuse to use their past as a pivot for a successful future. Abimbola is joyfully married and a mother of a trailblazer. Please welcome Dr. Abimbola Ore.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you, Ebon Lomo. Thank you, Family Center Africa. It's been a good time so far. I've enjoyed every part of our discussion, and I feel quite honored to be called to have this talk. But before we start, I'm sure some of us have been sitting for a while now. So can we stretch a bit? Everyone has been sitting, Sheon has been sitting, Coach B has been sitting. So let's stand up and stretch a bit, If this was a physical meeting, we would do that. I would also crave our indulgence and say, go through the participants. And if there's someone that you would have loved to meet, send them a private chat and say, hello, my name is so person. Can I meet you? Let's do that for like 1 minute, then we'll be back. Hello, Mama B. Hello, Pastor K. Hello, Pamela. Hi, everybody. Nike, it's so nice to see you. Okay, we have 45 more seconds.
Hello, Bimbo. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you, sir. 30 more seconds. Okay, so let's get to business. Much ado about COVID. Why are we talking about COVID again? COVID is everywhere. You turn left, you're reminded about COVID. You turn right, you're reminded about COVID. Everywhere you go, everybody's talking, saying something or doing something about COVID. So why did we decide to talk about COVID again? Why is everybody fussing around about COVID? I'm sure you know a lot of things about COVID. I'm not here to tell you anything new, no. But really, why this fuss? Why is the whole world fussing just because of a virus? Now, during the first outbreak, during the first stretch of COVID, it used to be numbers. Most of us didn't know anybody that had COVID, but you probably knew someone that was infected. But during this second wave, the numbers have become names, and some names have actually become relationships. You probably know someone that has had COVID and survived. Some of us know people that have had COVID and have lost their lives. So there really has to be something about this disease that we need to keep talking about to reiterate how important it is to prevent it, and also to reduce or to prevent stigmatization. That I've had COVID doesn't mean that you can't sit with me and talk with me again. That I've had COVID doesn't mean that I'm not eligible again to be married. So that is what we want to talk about. And then apart from that, what is my responsibility as a parent? How do I get my household to be protected as much as they can from COVID? So yes, COVID is a new disease. It's a new virus. It's a new strain of a virus. And because it's new and it keeps evolving, experts don't know everything about it. Unlike diseases that have been with us since forever and we almost know everything about them, COVID is new. And like human beings, COVID evolves. The COVID strain we were dealing with in July last year is not what we are dealing with right now. Now there's a British strain, there's a Nigerian strain, there's a South African strain. So these things, like human beings, it's evolving. We try to do this, then it comes up with another defense. And so we need to do everything that is that we can to prevent ourselves from being infected. But even when you get infected, you can get treated. Most people have been infected and they don't even know it. During the outbreak, the initial outbreak, there were times when I had sore throats and all my colleagues around me had COVID. Chances were that I probably got infected, but I never got tested. Why? I think I was in denial. I didn't want to face that reality. But that is part of the things we are here to talk about. If you think you have symptoms, then you should get tested and then you should get treated. Okay, so yes, it's a novel disease, it's deadly, it's contagious, and it's a pandemic. Every country in the world has been affected. Some countries have dealt with it better than the other, but every country has had someone that has been affected. They've had mortalities, they've had deaths, they've had a stretch of their health sector. Now, there are things that we don't know about COVID yet. Initially, the question was, can someone get reinfected? If I've had COVID before, can I get infected again? For instance, if a person had chickenpox in the past, you can't get chickenpox again. But COVID isn't like that. During the second strain, I've known one or two of my colleagues that got reinfected again with just as much symptoms as they had previously. So initially they used to say, no, you probably can't get infected again. You probably have immunity against it. But nobody knows how long the immunity lasts. And so this is why even after you've gotten infected, you are not immune. You can get infected again and again and again. And so what does that mean? We must go ahead and be strict with our preventive methods. Now, little is known if COVID can cause cancer. Little is known if a person that has had the virus before, if a person that has had the virus before can be susceptible to some form of other diseases. And that's why I said that it's evolving. Now, it's better we prevent it. It's better we do what we can to avoid this. And then it comes down to being a responsible adult. It comes down to being a responsible parent. It comes down to being a responsible boss. I know bosses that have gone ahead to say, in fact, almost all organizations out there will tell you if you do not have a face mask, you can't come into our establishment. But it goes beyond just making that rule. Now, I've made the rule. For instance, if you want to come into Lasut where I work, at the gate, they won't let you in without a face mask. So what we've seen now is people have their face mask. Once they get to the gate, they put it on. Once they get in, they put it off. So what's the essence of making that rule? It goes beyond making the rule and emphasizing and making sure that these rules are followed. So for instance, I am doing the ward round and I'm talking to a parent and the person has a face mask off. I tell her, I'm sorry, I'm not going to see your child until you use your face mask. If we all decide to take personal responsibilities, yes, I take responsibility for myself, and I take responsibility for the person I can influence. At that moment, you can influence that other individual. They want to do a transaction with you, and they're not using their face mask. They're not observing the COVID protocols. What are you going to do? You tell them, I will not relate with you. I will not have this transaction with you if you are not using your face mask. I will not let you come into my establishment if you don't wash your hands with the soap and water that we have provided. And so as a boss, even in our homes, now some people have gone ahead to provide basins, water basins at the door of their houses. So as you're coming in, that's what I do in my house. As soon as I'm back from work, I wash my hands, I dry it before I go in. Everything, I don't touch anybody. I go to the bathroom straight. It's being responsible because I cannot imagine myself getting COVID and then bringing it home to my loved ones who have not been going out as much as I have been. So it goes a long way in being responsible. Okay, so if your boss decides not to provide PPEs, if your boss decides not to provide gloves or surgical masks or face masks for you, please go ahead and buy it for yourself. Because the truth is that if you get infected, you and your family members would be the ones to take care of you. Your bosses would probably not be too responsible. In fact, I have a colleague that was in the isolation center for a while, and after she saw, it was close. We almost lost her. And after she survived, her father was livid with anger. Why? Because she probably got infected from work. We are not sure. But while she was on admission, the institution, the hospital did little or nothing to help her, apart from provide the bed space. Every other thing, they were the ones that were doing it. So her father was at the point of saying, this program you're doing, I'm going to abort it. I'm going to provide, you probably go and do your master's somewhere, or it's not worth it. So it's my responsibility to take care of myself. It's my responsibility to take care of my children. It's my responsibility to take care of my spouse. Now, the other thing we must do is spread the right information. You have maids, you have guards that probably think COVID is the disease of the rich. After all, everybody that you've heard that died from COVID are the high and mighty. But the only reason we hear about those people is because they are the high and mighty. It doesn't mean that the normal, the usual regular Nigerian isn't dying from COVID. That's why the numbers keep spiking. So we have to take responsibility to educate those people around us. I have an aunt who is uneducated. She goes to the market a lot. And I see a new COVID case, or I see a new COVID death or something, I sit her down. I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. All right. So I sit her down and I educate her such that every morning she calls me and she prays for me. Because now she knows.
Yes, I can hear you.
Because now she knows that COVID is real, and she takes in fact, she's more careful than I am most times about taking preventive measures. We have to educate people around us, not just your children, your maids, your guards, the gate man at the estate that you talk to. Just you them going around without their face masks, just inform them. This thing we are dealing with is real. Now, having said that, one thing we've observed is that during the COVID pandemic, or during this period, people have shied away from coming to the hospital because they believe that they'll probably get COVID from coming to the hospital. And because of that, when they have symptoms that need to be taken care of, they do a lot of self-medication, and then they cause harm than good. Now, the fact that there is COVID doesn't mean that the other diseases, the other illnesses that we were fighting before are not there. They are still there, and they are just as bad, if not worse. So if you add, or if you have a checkup, if you have an appointment with your doctor, now most hospitals have gone ahead to embrace telemedicine. So they call you ahead of time of your appointment and ask you, do you have these questions? And they try to consult through video calls and all. But if you need to come in, and then they tell you to come in. But some people have just totally ignored this. They've ignored going to the hospital because they are trying to run away from COVID. If you need to see the doctor, if you need to see a medical practitioner, please do. Don't say that you are trying to run away, and then because of that, you would not seek help for what needs to be. We have had people who were diabetic who stopped taking their medications because their drugs, they ran out of their medications, they didn't get a refill, and then their sugar went high. They felt the symptom, but they didn't just show up. And then they came back, they came to the hospital comatose. So all these things can be prevented by doing what we ought to do. If you have an appointment with your doctor, if you have an appointment, for instance, you're pregnant, you need to do antenatal care, and you say because of COVID, you're not going to seek help, it doesn't make sense. You do the preventive measures, you do what you're supposed to do, and then you see your doctor as at when due. The same thing for immunization for children. We've seen a lot of children that have missed their immunization because their parents are scared. What is our responsibility to our children? I'm quite passionate about children, and it gets me angry when I see things like this. But really, What is our responsibility to these children? If your child needs to get immunized, then you should bring them to the hospital or make a call and find out if they can do home services. Okay, there are organizations, there are establishments now that would come to your house and give the vaccine to your children if you don't want to come to the hospital. So I'm just going to run through the usual preventive measures for COVID that we talk about. Everything boils down to hygiene. Now, it's been said, it's been proven that COVID, that the coronavirus can stay on surfaces for up to 2 to 3 days. So what we advise is that you clean your surfaces as often as possible. In fact, in most hospitals now, as you're going and coming, you just see people cleaning up and down, because we want to try as much as possible to clear all surfaces of whatever germs and viruses that might be there. The use of masks. Now, there are a lot of publications out there about use of face masks that can read. But the simple truth is, by using face mask, you are protecting yourself and you're protecting the other person. You don't know if you're an asymptomatic carrier. If you don't have symptoms, but you have the virus, you use your face mask, preventing the next person from getting infected. Now, social responsibility. If you don't have to go to that party, please stay at home. If you don't have to have a party, please stay at home. Yes, the African culture is a boisterous one. We like to jubilate and celebrate, and we cannot think of getting married without having a big party. But COVID has taught us that things can be done in different ways. So if you must, reduce the number of people. But we've even found that the second strain, a lot of supposedly reduced number of parties, a lot of parties that have reduced number of people coming in. When people get into the place, they use their face mask, they wash their hands and all that. But once they start eating and felicitating with each other, we all let our guards down. So if you're in church, you do not let your guards down. You're dancing, you're praying, you're in the mosque, use your mask. Have your hand sanitizer with you. Use it as often as you can. Now, our mental health is just as important. During the COVID, during the lockdown last year, a lot of people had a lot of issues with anxiety, depression, and there really wasn't anybody to talk to. It was new having to sit at home with somebody for so long. And there was a spike in the number of mental illnesses and mental issues. Now, a lot of applications, a lot of mental health practitioners are out there that are offering their services. After their initial consultation, they will talk to you and then let you know that you need to seek help, and this is what we can do for you. But because we think that mental health is a thing to be ashamed of, we don't talk. I'll come out right and say that in February, I was close to being depressed. I didn't know. I was bottling in so many things until someone called me, my sister, and she's like, "How are you?" And before I could say anything, I just burst out crying. But because I had someone I could rant to, I could talk to, it saved me from going down that hill. Now, a lot of people do not, this is a community. Family Center is a community. We have professionals here. We have these people at our, that we can reach out to, and they can tell us what to do. Let us embrace change. COVID forced us to embrace change, whether we wanted it or not. Some negative, some positive. But the positive parts of COVID we can embrace. And one of it is seeking mental help. You don't have to see the person one-on-one. For all you know, sometimes all you need to do is just talk. And there are people that offer listening services. They will just listen. They do not know you, so they cannot judge you. And sometimes that is what you need. You just need to talk to someone. You just need to let it out. There are times when I call Mama Bri and I tell her, I need a reset. I need a brain reset. There are times when I call Dabira and I just tell her, this is what is going on. We must have those people that that we can talk to, that you can open up to, that you know that they have their own issues. Nobody's going to judge you. Okay, so we have to be responsible for ourselves. We have to be responsible for our children. COVID has come. It probably will be with us for a while, but we will overcome it. But while COVID is here, we have to be responsible. We have to take responsibility for our families, for ourselves, and then for the people that we can influence. And most importantly, as far as I am concerned, the future, our children, help them understand what is going on. Help them model what you want them to do. My son doesn't like using face mask, but when he sees me using it, then he uses it. So yes, you can say do that, but you're doing something else. But if they see everybody around them doing the right thing, then they probably would model that and do what you want them to do. Like I said, I didn't bring any new gist about COVID. I just wanted to remind us and let us know that we have to keep taking responsibility. There are new drugs that are being tested, some old, but they've been proven to work. And as COVID evolves, information about it will also evolve. If you have any questions, as much as I can answer, I'm willing to. Thank you once again for having me.
Thank you, Dr. Bimbola. Thank you so much for being so precise and direct. Like she said, she doesn't have anything new. These are the things we have heard before. But you know, we have a lot of news on the social media. We have a lot of WhatsApp pop-ups on our phone, different stories and all. And this has helped us to clarify a lot of things. And she also mentioned that as COVID evolves, as COVID evolved, things will evolve. The truth of the matter is life is evolving. A lot of new things are coming up. Life will never go back to what it used to be before COVID started. And so we need to evolve with life. We need to change our method. The same thing we are saying about marriage. Forget about where you're coming from. Forget about the method and the system of those people that raised you. Life is evolving, things are changing, and we need to change. We need to also change. And she also mentioned that you should seek help. Don't try to do self-medication. Just like we are saying, seek medical help, we are saying seek professional help for your marriage is very, very, very important. Okay, so I want to just say thank you to Dr. Bimbola in our chat box. We enjoyed her. Thank you. Let's love upon her. Send messages to her. Thank you so much, Dr. Bimbola. We love you.
Thank you for having me too. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so while we are rounding up this month's family meeting, I'm sure you have enjoyed it. January was something else, and February, it's so awesome. Thank you so much for waiting till this time. I understand that Saturdays people want to go for Owambe and all, and you're here. It's 10:29 already, and you're still here. I really appreciate you, and it also shows that you want your marriage to be better, and that's why you're here. This is part of the sacrifices Coach Bosse and Shionladoku mentioned. So while I checked some of the questions in the chat box, I want Coach Bosse and Shionladoku, please, I want you to pay attention to these questions while you help us to respond to them. So somebody said, I want Shion to respond to this. Somebody said, please, what is love language? Please give examples. Even though we have also in the chat box that you should, I think I should just answer that one. There's no way we can explain it here that you will really understand it. Somebody had already listed touch, word of affirmation and all. There's no way we can list them out to you here that you will really understand it. So I want you to check those numbers, those links, and please communicate and reach out to those numbers, and that question will be well answered for you. The other one, I want you to answer this. One of the observations that I've seen in marriage is some men are not happy with their spouse's success. How do we rectify this issue? You are a man, so I want you to respond to that.
All right. Well, sorry, just a minute.
No problem.
Okay, so as I was saying, there are different sides to it. the guy probably feels intimidated with the lady's success. But the truth is, husband and wife has to see themselves as one and going after the same goal. They are not competing, they are to complement each other. So there is no rule that says that I must be more successful than my wife or my wife is more successful than me. If you understand the fact that we are a team and we have a common goal, we have a common vision, so whoever is more successful, whoever earns more doesn't mean, because it's for the common interest, it's for the commonwealth of the family. So how much work will the husband of the first gentleman of US would have done to be there today? So as a leverage, the wife is the vice president, and that doesn't make him less a man. So that's how it should be. The fact that your wife is more successful than you does not make you less a man or makes her less a woman. We just have to understand that our family is a team. We are building a team. We have a common goal. We have a common interest. Whatever we have is for the common good of the family. So if you're able to approach our home from that perspective, it won't matter so much who earns more or who is more successful or who is more popular or who is more privileged and all. We understand that if it's either A or B, it's for the common good of A and B at the end of the day. So that's what I think.
Okay, Coach Bosse, do you have anything to add to that?
Yes, Shehu have said it all that you have to know that both of you are on the same team. You are not competing. So if one person is earning more than the other, it's a blessing to the family, and you just need to change your mindset. And for the person that is asking this question, is your spouse is not happy with you, I want to appeal to you that you should please not take it too personal with them, and don't rub your success in as well. So when you know that, I mean, somebody really is not really happy with you, and then you too be careful the things you share, be careful how you share things, and just let discretion guide you. Let discretion guide you. Exhibit a lot of wisdom, while we help you check the fundamental problems in the marriage. But be safe. Don't go and start to shine too much before him so that he doesn't cut your wings off.
Thank you very much. And if you take notes, people, if you take notes, you know that we have been using some words like team, we are users manual, love languages. This is because we have a course where you can learn on all this. And so if you're interested in taking this, team is just like football team, but there's a way we explain it to you that you really understand. And working together as a team in marriage helps you to attain the highest level of bliss that you want. If you're interested in taking any of our courses or assessment, please indicate your interest in the chat box while people chat to you. We also talk about the words like tribe. Yeah, we are a tribe of people and all. So reach out and just show your interest and let's reach out to you on that. Okay, so while we move on, Coach Bosse, somebody said, what if married but single is due to domestic violence? How do we handle it?
Okay, so you are married but single, and probably you are not staying together now. Maybe you are separated, or you are just keeping your distance away from the person.
Yeah.
In that situation, we are not going to force you back into that union unless the abuser gets help. There are ways to do it. So is your abuser ready to say, I need help, I don't want to continue to do this again? Or the abuser just doesn't care? If the abuser doesn't care and is not willing to receive help, you going back into that situation may spell doom for you. So you have to be careful. But if the abuser is sorry and wants to be helped, let the abuser enroll for therapy, and while he is getting the required help, then both of you can now start to talk about how you want to build the marriage back. But it's not going to be business as usual. So don't let anybody pat you on the head and buy you a gift and say, it won't happen again. And then you go back into the same abuse. So it won't be business as usual. There will be new terms and conditions for that relationship. And sometimes I even tell the abuser to write an undertaking. So if you are saying that this is not going to happen again, can you put it in writing? And then let's have what's going to be the penalty if you do it again. Because we cannot just allow women to, or mostly women, and I'm supposed to be speaking from the perspective of a woman, to just stay in abusive relationship, all because the person must stay married. So if you are in that situation, please talk to one of us and let's see how we can get you to start to help your marriage to win it back again.
Thank you very much. And just like Dr. Abimbola said, let's seek help. We also do therapy sessions. If you think your situation needs help, Coach Bosse used that word. If you think your marriage is dead, you need help. If you notice that it's not the way it used to be, that's why we're here, professionals, and we're going to give all the assistance. Somebody said we don't have bad marriages, but we have two people that have been abused emotionally, two people that are not in tune with who they are, coming together. And so there's no bad marriage. You need to work on yourselves while you come together to have a blissful marriage. Thank you very much. Okay, Gift Onwe, I want to believe we have answered this question. You said you lost your network. I lost network when you talked about users manual. Please, what is it about? Please reach out to the Institute of Family. You see the name, Institute of Family Engineering and Development, one of those participants here, and they'll be ready to respond to your question. Eti Olorunfemi, thank you. Good to have you here. Okay, so there's a question to Dr. Abimbola, and that will be the last question we're going to take before we round up today and be talking about next meeting. Dr. Abimbola, what do you think about the vaccine? And as regards the different streams around, what do you think about the vaccine? Let's start with that.
Okay, thank you for the question, Kemi, Fami, Lucy. All right, so yes, there are different strains, but there's a basic structure or a basic component. And the vaccine doesn't just have one mechanism of action against the virus. So it has several points that it tries to attack. So even though the virus is evolving, for now, what we know is that the vaccines are able to deal with the main components, the main things that makes the coronavirus what it is. Now, we don't know if there'll be so much evolution that the virus is now not able, that the vaccine is now not effective against the virus. But right now, what we know is that even though there have been some mutations and some different strains, they still have the basic component that the vaccine fights against. And so it should be effective against the virus. Like I said, it's a new virus. The vaccines are also relatively new. And so a lot of things are still, a lot of work, a lot of trials are still going on them, but because it's a pandemic and something needs to be done, that's why these vaccines are being doled out in their millions. Ideally, before a vaccine is certified as suitable for everybody to use, they go through at least 4 stages of clinical trials. And right now, I think most that the vaccines have gone through is the 3rd stage of clinical trial. But because we are in dire need of them and something needs to be done to curtail the spread of the virus, that's why the vaccine is being is being allowed to be used by everyone. And so, yes, the virus has mutated, but the vaccine has ability to stop or to deal with the main components of the virus. And so whatever strains we have right now, the vaccine is able to prevent it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Abimbola, for answering that question intelligently. I really appreciate you. I appreciate you, Coach Bosse. Nice seeing you. I know it is still midnight at your end there. Thank you for going all the way to ensure that you can. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. Thank you, Sheol. Thank you for your time. Thank you for those intelligent nuggets. We really appreciate it. Thank you, everyone, family. I want to believe that you all will accept with me that this is family. And we have dealt with issues that people don't usually talk about. And this is where we can talk about it. I look forward to having you all around in March. In March, we're going to be talking about co-parenting. If you know anyone that is separated, divorced, we're going to be talking about co-parenting. And it's going to be a wonderful time. I also want everybody, even if you're still in your marriage, please be around. We are going to talk about the new rule of parenting here in March. Thank you very much, everyone. Please remember we have phone numbers and links you can reach out to. Can we just, let's see our faces. Remove your camera and let's see our faces.
And sorry,
okay. Hello, everyone.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. So a good photograph. Let's release our video camera. Well, Ayodele Umeje, Arit Ekbo, I can see you. Aderonke Olowu, Abiola Shonibare, I can see you. Carolina Jai, hello. Charity Odu, hello, hi. Good to have you here. Chito, Dada Dokas, so much. So is our cameraman ready? And Noah, oh, you are in the car. Good to see you. Thank you for joining. PKO, hello. Olaide Amuso, Sam Alabi, thank you for joining. Looking forward to seeing you. Godwin Chibweze, thank you. Daniel.
Thank you too.
Thank you for joining.
I got value.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Oluwayem Fiakere, thank you for joining. Please don't forget to reach out to us via the links and the phone numbers in the chat box. Eddie Young, thank you for joining. Olaide Elujova, thank you so much. See you next month. Thank you, Temi Ajima, thank you. Nice having you around. And thank you for telling PF that we will call his name every time. All right, so see you in March for another session of family meeting. And God bless you. Bye.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye, everyone. Thanks for showing up.
Bye. Thank you too.
Let's have a beautiful weekend ahead.